Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to the Confidence and Clarity Bootcamp. As I was going over my notes for today's session, I realized that a lack of clarity, that feeling of fogginess that we can often experience in relation to our professional journey, can make our inner critic go wild and can cause us to feel so much doubt and insecurity around what our next steps are and what our career could look like. So, I want to, over the course of the next 60 or so minutes, take you through a number of methodologies and steps that you can use to help you emerge as a fearless, empowered, and confident leader in your field. But to do this, it's absolutely imperative that you learn how to ditch the doubt and escape the grip of your very critical inner voice. And I want to show you the exact steps that I'm using and have been using for over 10 years to support my clients and to help myself as well, because my inner critical voice is loud, to create a really successful career, a balanced life, and something that I feel quite content with. As I've already said, I want you to feel free to ask questions and to have conversations with each other and with me about what it is that you're learning, about what your experiences are. Because if there's one thing that I know for certain, it's that we're not on our own. So I'd like for you to throw a thumbs up or a Y for a yes if you have ever felt doubt in your place of work. Simply put your thumb up or a Y if you've ever felt doubt in your place of work. Okay, so we're going yes, 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 yes. I want you to put a Y or a thumbs up if you've ever felt the grip of your inner critical voice. If you've ever felt disempowered or like your inner voice just beats you up all of the time, gives you a really, really hard time. Again, we're seeing a lot of yeses here. So we know we're not on our own. We know that we're not the only ones to experience it. But by virtue of the fact that you're here, we know that there are so many of us who, in spite of that inner critical voice, want to be able to accomplish some really incredible things. But we have a problem. You're ambitious and you're hardworking. And if you're like me, you love the idea of putting effort in and working hard. And you want to earn a living that empowers you to have a rich and meaningful life outside of work. But you also doubt yourself constantly and fear putting yourself out there. You're quiet and timid at work. You second guess yourself constantly. You aren't sure of what you want anymore. The stress and the overwhelm and the burnout has become so much, you just can't see yourself in your current position for long. Your inner critic is loud and exhausting, and at times you feel paralyzed with self judgment and criticism. You dream about going to bed at night, but as soon as your head hits the pillow, your mind switches on and you just don't know how to stop it. So your sleep is affected. You go to bed thinking about work. Sometimes you wake thinking about work, and you most definitely wake up in the morning thinking about work, and there seems to be no rest. You want to feel like it's possible to accomplish your professional goals without sacrificing your personal life. I adore working. It is a huge part of who I am, and it's a huge part of my identity. And if becoming a mom did one thing, it made me absolutely certain of how much I love working. But I don't want that love or that ambition to take away from my personal life. So trying to find that balance has been my mission over the last while. And I'm really happy with the balance that I've created and how I've defined that balance for my own life. Every now and again, I'm just going to check into the chat box to make sure that we're all doing okay. So up until now, you might have been wondering, what do I need to do to get confident? What do I need to do to let go of the inner critic? What do I need to do to ditch the doubt? So you might be reading podcasts, you might be listening to self-help reading podcasts. You might be listening to podcasts and reading self-help books. You might be having conversations with friends. You might just be waiting for the day for you to feel 100% confident before you do the thing, before you apply for the promotion, ask for the pay rise, voice your meeting, um, voice your opinion in meetings with power and assertiveness and influence. And if you've been doing that, you've been doing it the wrong way. And I want to be able to share with you a methodology that I've created called the confidence building pyramid that will take you through the exact steps that you need to take to feel confident. We're going to look at self-care at the very bottom. The reason why this is so important is because if we look at your emotional or psychological health, it is an incredibly significant source of self-efficacy, also known as self-belief. It refers to your ability or your belief in your ability to execute the tasks required to accomplish your goals. There are four different sources of self-efficacy or self-belief. We're looking at your emotional or psychological health, mastery experiences, so how often you can repeat a skill or do the thing that you want to become more confident in. Role models, so is there anyone in your life who's doing the thing that you want to do, who has accomplished the goal that you've set for yourself? And surrounding yourself with people that I call your unicorns. So they are your cheerleaders. They are the people who believe in you no matter what. Those four sources of self-belief, when you can tap into them, will show you how you can improve your self-belief. So when we're looking at improving confidence, it is so incredibly important that we're looking at your pillars of health or well-being. We're looking at how much sleep you get, your nutrition, your hydration. We're looking, excuse me, at how much you move. And again, you don't need to be going to CrossFit 5 days a week or running for 4 days a week. I just want to see you finding joy in movement. I want to see you going out there and doing something that feels good for you in your body. But I want to see you taking time to look after yourself. It's not just about how you can add to your cup, it's also about identifying any leaks in your cup. We all talk about how we can't fill from an empty cup, but we need to address why that cup can sometimes become quite empty very quickly, in spite of what we think we're doing to nurture it. Quite often, unbeknownst to us, there are leaks in the cup that we need to address. So as part of this confidence building pyramid, it's helping you to really, really understand and prioritize self-care on your confidence building journey. Self-compassion. You might be wondering, why self-compassion? What is self-compassion? Self-compassion is your ability to practice or show yourself the same love and kindness that you would show others in their moments of pain, suffering, or inadequacy. It means that you can be kind and sound to yourself when you're struggling. And I want you to think about this. I want you all to take a moment to think about the last time that you did something and it didn't go the way that you had hoped or planned. Maybe it was a presentation, a conversation with your manager. Maybe you requested a pay rise unsuccessfully. Maybe you introduced yourself to a new client and you momentarily forgot your name. It's happened to me. I recovered, just about. I want you to think about a time where something didn't go the way that you want. And how did you respond to yourself in that moment? That response is really important because one of the key principles underpinning confidence is that the actions of confidence come first and the feelings of confidence come second. So if you've been waiting to feel confident before you ask for the pay rise, apply for the promotion, or use your voice in a meeting, you're going to be waiting for a really long time. I want you to throw a Y into the chat box if you've ever waited to feel confident before you do something. Have you ever waited to feel confident before you do something? Okay, so we're seeing a lot of yeses. It's time to do the thing. And if the idea of doing the thing is too overwhelming, I want you to break it down into smaller and more manageable chunks using my confidence scale. So 0 is tucked up in the fetal position, hiding under the table, not confident. I don't want to do it. Someone's going to have to drag me from under this table by the hair. And 10 is, I'm so confident. I'm just waiting for Victoria's Secret to call me to invite me as their next catwalk model. So if you're not at a push, a 7, 8, 9, or 10 confident that you can accomplish the step that you're focused on taking next, I don't want you to do this until you have mastered self-compassion. Because if you can't pick yourself back up after you fall, you run the very, very, very high risk of retreating back into your comfort zone, licking your wounds, feeling sorry for yourself, ruminating over what went wrong, making up problems that didn't happen, creating things that weren't there, and the problem will grow disproportionately, and you're never going to do an action or confident thing again. So we're looking at ensuring that we are in the best possible emotional and psychological place possible. We're going to learn how we can take steps to nurture ourselves during our moments of perceived inadequacy or pain, so that we can have a strategy that we can use should we do something that doesn't go the way that we want. We can pick ourselves back up again, demonstrate, show ourselves self-compassion, and continue to take the actions of confidence in order to feel confident. So here's the thing. If you want to be able to speak up more in meetings, but the idea of speaking up in a meeting is an 8 out of 10 confident, we're not going to do that yet. What you might do is the next time that you're in Starbucks and you order a coffee and they give you the wrong order, and typically you wouldn't want to rock the boat and embarrass anyone by saying this order was a mistake, you're going to actually correct the order now, because that might only be a 4 or 5 on the confidence scale. So you're going to go up to the barista and say, thank you so much for this order. It looks great, but unfortunately I asked for a cappuccino with low fat milk. And you're going to do the same with a waiter or waitress when you go out to a restaurant and they give you the dressing on the salad instead of on the side. You might do the same when you notice your boss is a little bit ahead of you, coming out of the DART station, going into the building. You might turn around and go, oh, hey, Barbara, how are you? How was the weekend? How was your holiday? So you're practicing having unsolicited conversations. Nothing is scripted. It's all just off the cuff to get you ready. But there are very specific steps that you can take that will support you to do that. But take some of the load off. No one is expecting you. Your coach is not expecting you to do that really scary thing straight away. We want to build you up for success first. A second key methodology that we use quite a lot in helping people to advance their career in spite of the presence of an inner critic is called the CARE model. It's career advancement through resilience and empathy. So quite often, coaches like me, people like me, might tell you, you need to shut your inner critic down. You need to shut that bitch up. I hate saying that word. You need to tell her where to go, show her the door, give her a smack. Other pretty derogatory, harsh, and to be honest, quite mean and nasty things. Not me. I am never going to ask you to dismiss your experiences, to reduce your feelings. And I'm never going to ask, nor do I want you to speak to your inner critical voice using derogatory, mean, or belittling language. Because as far as I'm concerned, your inner critic represents your deepest fears, your insecurities. She represents a small part of you. And if you wouldn't speak to a small child in that way, we're not going to speak to yourself in that way either. Now, can you be fierce to your inner critic? Can you challenge your inner critic? Yes. In fact, challenging your inner critic is the first step in my CARE model that will help you to challenge the assumptions that your inner critic is making about your skills, talents, or worthiness. We're looking for evidence of what it is that you can do. Your inner critic, 99.9% of the time, is driven by assumptions, and it is making assumptions about what you can do in this present moment because of something that may or may not have happened in the past. So it's really important that we challenge that inner critical voice, that we adopt self-compassion. I will always recommend naming your inner critic. but selecting a name that is quite neutral, something like Becky, which is my inner critic. For anyone who's followed me on Instagram, you've seen some of the reels that I've shared about Becky. But we're picking a very neutral name that will enable us to create psychological distance between our inner critical voice and ourself. If you struggle trying to identify the inner critical voice, I want you to try to think about the brand. So think about this. If I showed you a carton of chips, covered the label or covered the logo, but you could still see the red carton with the yellow outline, where's that from? Carton of chips with red and yellow packaging? It's McDonald's. You recognize it because of the brand. If I shared a bucket of chicken with you, like I would ever share a bucket of chicken, but let's say I would, a white bucket of chicken with red writing on it, we kind of know that it's Mr. Kentucky there. It's Kentucky Fried Chicken. So even if we can't see the logo or the name, there's a brand there, so we can get the sense and a feeling. Your inner critical voice has a brand. She talks to you in a very specific way. Now, my inner critical voice will never, ever turn around and go, Sarah, I'm going to say the B word again. Sarah, you're a dumb bitch. Why can't you get anything right? That's not how Becky talks to me. But Becky will say things like, oh, are you sure you want to do this, Sarah? I'm not sure you're cut out for this. I don't think you're going to get it right. She's subtle, but she's constantly prodding at me. The Becky's brand, full of questioning, makes me want to be or choose the lazy option. So even if I can't recognize the words that are being said to me by my inner critic, I recognize what it looks like. So what you're going to do in this second step of your care model is to look at how you can create psychological distance between you and your inner critic by naming her something quite neutral. And if you can't recognize the words, start to recognize the brand, the tone of voice that she talks in, how she makes you feel. Reflect and set goals. We want to advance our careers at the end of the day, and we want to move forward. So bearing in mind what I just said about the actions of confidence, your confidence scale, and how you can set, I guess, smaller, but yet quite meaningful goals to support you accomplish the big goal that you have. So we're looking at chunking. That's the word I was searching for. We're looking at chunking that goal down and reflecting after we've accomplished that goal and embracing continuous learning. I had a really interesting conversation with a client recently who told me about a conversation that she attempted to initiate with someone that didn't go well. It was really important that I explore with her what truth there was to that feedback and what she might be able to do differently, what she could learn from that situation to help her move forward. So we are looking at identifying what our inner critic might be hiding behind or trying to show us, establishing very realistic goals, creating space to reflect on our progress towards those goals, and then embracing continuous learning, but taking a strength-based approach to that learning. Think about your answer to this question quite carefully. I want you to imagine a kid, a niece, a nephew, your best friend's kid, your own daughter or son, and they're really shit at tennis, but fantastic at math. What do? Do you get them tennis lessons or a math tutor? You get them a math tutor. You take them from good to great. It's okay to be crap at tennis. It's okay to be bad at things. It's okay that we have weaknesses. But to have a greatness and a strength in the workplace, to be known as that person, that's what you want. A strength-based approach towards your continuous learning. This is what my clients have done. They have taken these models, these methodologies. Sarah here on the left got a promotion. Amy here on the right got a pay rise. This stuff works. In the 10 plus years that I've been coaching, I have seen so many of my incredible clients take these strategies, apply them diligently and considerately to their life, and they've been able to yield incredible results as a result. So you might be wondering, what's been missing for you? Why haven't you been able to do this yet? If you've written down what your goal is, you're quite clear on what you want. Now you need to figure out how you can get there. There's a couple of things that have probably been missing from your journey so far. You're trying to go it alone. You are relying on journaling and meditation to fix your problems. But as soon as things feel tough or life gets in the way, you fall off the bandwagon. Now, don't get me wrong, journaling and meditation are incredible tools that can and will support you. But if life starts to feel hard and the habits that you've worked really hard on trying to create, you stop doing, there was a piece that was missing to help you form that habit. And it's most likely, again, that you were continuing to go it alone. You didn't have anyone that you could chatter with or talk to that could support you figure out what it is that you need to do more of or less of or differently to help you. And this is a really, really big one here as well. Number 3, you're hiding behind self-help books and podcasts, and you're avoiding asking yourself the difficult questions. Generally, when I work with my clients, I put them on a self-help ban immediately. I have piles of self-help. Let me correct that. I had piles and piles of self-help books. And whilst it's my job to stay kind of up to date a lot on what's going on, I'll usually have one self-help book that's really struck a chord with me. And I will dedicate up to a year to implement the knowledge and the wisdom and the tools that I've learned from that one book. But that's quite different to how other people approach it, self-help or personal development, even professional development books. We hide behind it thinking that if we keep reading books, eventually we'll read a paragraph of a book that will fix all of our problems. But reading about the solution isn't going to help you fix your real world problem. You need to actually start to pursue real life lived experiences to help you fix the problem. And you need to trust that you have all of the answers. Your responsibility to yourself and to your career is to take time to peel back the doubt and the insecurity that has built up over time. It's not easy, but it is 100% possible. And with your permission, I want to be able to share a very special gift with you at the end of this session that will help you to understand what you can do to help you finally push the needle on your goal. I know that a few of you who might be wondering if you can actually do this, if you actually have what it takes. You might be right now sick of standing in your own way, but scared of what you might uncover on a developmental journey that coaching will support you on. You might not naturally feel quite confident, but you're really concerned that you might come across as being full of yourself, conceited, arrogant, or vain if you start to take your confidence seriously. But that toxic humility is not going to support you to advance your career. If you want to advance your career, you need to find comfort in advocating and promoting yourself. So there is that gray space between humility and arrogance. And I want to introduce you guys to that because there you will find comfort in authentically promoting and advocating for yourself. You feel passionate about your job, but it's starting to make you feel sick and tired and stressed. And sometimes this happens to people who are really passionate. They don't know how to stop because they love what they're doing. So they justify always doing it because they love it. But loving something means that you often need to take a break from it as well. I love my husband and my children more than, oh, but I need breaks from them. And that's okay. I adore being a coach, but I need breaks as well. And that's all right. And I give myself permission to take those breaks. And I need you to do that as well. Usually I play a game when I do my online presentations, a drinking game, just with water or tea. It's a Tuesday night. We're not going mad in the Prosecco. It's January after all. And if you see a spelling mistake, you have to take a chug of your water because we may as well stay hydrated. Flash track of the amount of spelling mistakes that I've seen on this page. So why you feel like it's time to make a change, but you've no idea what that change looks like. You're welcome, Danielle. You understand how critical it is to have someone hold you accountable in this process, but you don't know what that looks like. You feel like a fraud at work. You feel like one day your manager is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, you don't belong here. It's time to pack your bags and go. You feel completely lost and beyond help. There are a lot of things going on in your mind right now that I know are difficult to let go of because the chances are you've been replaying these in your mind for a very, very long time. Research will show, this isn't me saying this is from some of the greatest publications out there. And you can see that I had it where the image is gone. But anyway, according to IPEC, 1.5 million searches are done monthly by people and companies looking for coaches. Research shows that coaching can positively affect performance, skills, well-being, coping, work attitudes, goal-directed, self-regulation, etc. You can see there on the left for yourself what coaching clients can report. Coaching works. Coaching is effective. Coaching is what can help you to move the dial, to move the pin, to help you get from A to B. But how do you know if this very specific training is right for you? So it's not for you if you're looking for an overnight solution. Sadly, there are no quick fixes when it comes to stepping into your role as a fearless and confident and empowered professional. If you're not really ready to face the hurdles that are holding you back, and if you want to do this alone without the help and support of an experienced expert coach, this training is for you. If you crave support, accountability, dedicated focus, and attention, and you're ready to gain the clarity and confidence you need to accomplish your goals. You've tried mindfulness, meditation, journaling, and therapy, but nothing has given you the results that you want. You need time for yourself, away from the chaos that is your life, and for someone to hold a safe space for you to work on yourself, a safe, non-judgmental space. And you want to stop finally standing in your own way to achieve the success and confidence you have always dreamed about. This training that we're doing right now, if I'm brutally honest with you, I created because when I was 25 or 26, and when I was 35, 36, I went through such overwhelming periods of insecurity and doubt as a professional. I felt like such a fraud in my first job in my early 20s, but I didn't know what imposter syndrome was back then. All I knew was that I felt like I shouldn't be there, and I just kept on trying to keep myself as small and as invisible as possible. My inner critic was raging, absolutely insatiable. And then in my my mid 30s, I was just getting in my own way, refusing to align to my values, my strengths, and my skills. I've created this training for those past versions of myself because it's what I needed then to help me move the dial on my career. A confident, empowered, and fearless professional can do so many incredible things to become active players in managing their own career. So rather than waiting for their manager or for someone else to say, you're ready for this or do that, you can become proactive in managing your career. So, a confident, empowered, and fearless professional will negotiate a pay rise with confidence, which means that you can finally afford those pair of shoes. I saw a fabulous red pair. Now, I'm personally not going to swell. I don't know. They were really nice, really lovely pair of designer red shoes. So you can finally afford those red shoes, that mortgage, that holiday. You can apply for a promotion that you know that you are capable and worthy of. How many of you guys have ever stood in the office and seen Joseph or Stephanie or Mark put up their hands for a promotion and you couldn't shake the feeling that you were so much better qualified than them? You are better qualified, but they have more self-belief and they will put themselves forward regardless of what might happen. You won't yet. So when you can apply for that promotion, it means that your skills, qualifications, and experience are recognized. You're seen for what you bring to your workplace, and you feel like you're exactly where you should be. You can leave work at work and feel present and calm in your personal life. This means that you can finally have the work-life balance that you need and want. No more overthinking every little detail when you're with the kids or spending time with friends. No more checking your phone or opening up emails before you go to bed either. And you can share your opinions and speak up without questioning yourself. That's just lazy typing on my part. My sincere apologies. You can share your opinions and speak up without questioning themselves, second guessing or overthinking. This means that you can finally showcase your talents and skills and get seen for all of the incredible work that you do. How wonderful would that be? And I want you to throw a Y into the chat box. If you can't shake the feeling that getting the pat on that back, getting an email from your manager, or well done from your colleague on your hard work, being recognized and noticed for what you've done, wouldn't that be an amazing feeling? Throw a Y into the chat box if you want more of that. Feels quite late in the game to be introducing myself, but here we are. My name is Sarah. How long have I been talking for? 40 minutes. How are you? I'm a life, career, and executive coach. I'm also a speaker. I will often refer to myself as a very basic bitch. I'm pretty plain and boring. That's kind of it. I don't have an incredibly exciting story. I'm a mom to 2 kids. They're amazing, but I really struggled during both of the pregnancies and during my recovery. I struggled with the stop and start nature of my life over the last 5 years, but since we got Daisy into creche, I've been more consistent with my professional goals and it's been incredibly rewarding. I married James, I'm going to say 5 to 6 years ago. I've been coaching for over 10 years. I've been self-employed for 10 years, so I've been doing this full time for a very long time. I used to work in international development and human rights in Trinity College, Dublin. But the overwhelm, the stress, and the pull of an unfulfilled ambition to pursue my dream of becoming a coach became too great for me to ignore. So after a long time trying to figure out what my next steps were, I finally took the jump, made the jump, handed in my notice, and became a coach. I recently rebranded from the Better Life Project to Sarah Doyle. It was one of the best things that I've ever done. I'm an absolute idiot and goofball. Generally, the creche will hear me singing on the way to pick up the kids before they'll see me. But most of all, I'm passionate, so incredibly passionate about helping you become a fearless, empowered, and confident professional because it's exactly what I want to be. And I know how it is that you can get there. Many of us will become overly fixated on our goals, causing us to overlook the actions required to achieve them. As a result, when we find ourselves uncertain about the future, we may experience feelings of being lost, directionless, lack of confidence, anxiety, and just feeling quite sad, particularly because we're not sure what we should do anymore. We forgot how to just live, even in the absence of a goal. Or maybe you've achieved your fair share of goals in the past, but every time you do, you anticipate feeling fulfilled and satisfied, only to be left with an empty feeling. This happens because we set ourselves a goal that isn't aligned with our values and fall into the trap of thinking, I should do this, or this is what's expected of me. In order for you to feel empowered, you need to convert your desire into action. But in order to convert that desire into action, it needs to feel aligned with your authentic self. It needs to be guided by your authentic values, not what you think your values should be or your legacy values, an old label or identity that you've grown up with. It needs to be guided by you. That's how we motivate ourselves. That's how we find fulfillment. That's how we become fearless because we're taking steps that align with who we are. Your unique brand of professional confidence, it's what is going to set you aside from everyone else in your place of work. That brand is so incredibly important. So I've already spoken, and this is probably why I spoke for 40 minutes before introducing myself. I've spoken at length about the importance of what you can see here, the confidence training or confidence building pyramid. But I want to take this opportunity to rehash and go over a couple more things. When you are working on your confidence, I want you to think that your confidence is like a light switch that you can switch on and off. It's not, yes, it's a linear journey. Yes, it's not about the destination process, da 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 da. But I want you to think that your confidence is something that you can switch on and off depending on what the situation that you're in requires or calls for. So when you're switching that confidence on, you're switching it on tomorrow because you're delivering a presentation. That means that tonight you're going outside for a walk. It means that you're engaging in joyful movement. It means that you're becoming familiar with your breath. It means that you are practicing deep breathing and you're becoming familiar with what your mind is telling you. You're practicing self-compassion if you notice that your mind is telling you unhelpful or unproductive things. You can't do this. Who do you think that you are? You're going to mess up. You're going to forget your name again. And you might be able to say, I see that you're struggling right now, Becky, and I am so sorry that you're feeling this way. I imagine that you're quite scared. I know that you're looking after me, but we're going to do this because my career is important to me. And I understand that if I take this step tomorrow, I am increasing my visibility, showcasing my skills, and really, really strengthening the likelihood that I'll be invited to apply for a promotion sooner than when they told me I could. So that's the fierce kind of self-compassion. That's the level at which we challenge her. The actions of confidence. We're standing up there and we're giving that presentation and we're doing the thing that scares us. But it's not a 10 out of 10 scary. It's like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 scary because we've taken very measured, considerate, and controlled steps beforehand. Now, this is a really fun exercise that I'd love for you all to do right now. If you guys don't have any questions, if you do, feel free to turn your audio on or just to write them into the chat box. What I'd like for you to do is take a few moments to write your retirement speech. So it's time to become an active participant in your career and manage it accordingly. From the perspective of a close colleague, write a retirement speech you would like to hear them say about the impact you had and how you'll be remembered. So take 2 minutes to jot this down right now. But I want you to write the retirement speech that you'd love to hear someone make about you when you eventually retire from whatever it is that you're doing in 5, 10, 20, or 30 years. Write your retirement speech. What do you want your closest colleague or your work bestie to say about you? What was the impact that you had? How did you make people feel? This is such an incredibly powerful exercise because it helps us to become really clear on what we need to do to make that vision a reality. Whilst you're writing that retirement speech, you may have identified a number of professional milestones that you've hit. Maybe someone speaks about a executive or the most successful salesperson, won the highest ever commission, landed the most profitable client. Maybe you're talking about specific milestones, but maybe you're talking about how you made people feel. Maybe they're talking about how you handled yourself during challenging situations, how you always stood back up again, how you were fearless in your ability to advocate for yourself and others around you. When I think about my retirement speech in my little old business for one, what I want someone to say about me is that she was fearless, she was herself, and she was compassionate, authentic, compassionate, courageous, and fearless. It's a really great exercise. We're kind of breezing past it for this workshop, but what I'd love for you to do is to give yourself some time today or tomorrow to really sink your teeth into this and actually write this presentation out. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever comes naturally to you in that moment, just go with it. So, what is the solution to so many of the problems that we've spoken about? Well, it's time to completely rethink how we approach confidence. We can't wait to feel confident anymore. We can't read our way to feeling confident, and we can't listen our way to feeling confident. We need to begin by taking the actions of confidence. But that's really effing scary. And it's the reason why you haven't been able to move the dial yet. So we need to prioritize your self care. We need to learn how to integrate self compassion into your life. And then we can take a slow and considerate and gentle approach towards taking the actions of confidence. You're probably watching this free training for a couple of different reasons. You might doubt yourself constantly and feel like your inner critic is running the show. I want you to throw a Y into the chat box if I say something that resonates with you or that you can relate with in any way. You might feel sick of standing in your own way. That was 100% me about a year ago. Like sick to the point where I just wanted to quit and give it all in and apply for a job in my local newsagent. You're feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, and unsure if you should stay where you are or do something different. But you also can't shake the feeling that before anything changes, you have to address your mindset. You feel like you have so much more to give, but you've no idea where to start. You can't help but feel like you've tried it all. As I said at the beginning, if you're serious about becoming a fearless, empowered, and confident professional, You have to learn steps and strategies that you can use that will support you to manage your doubt effectively and help you to understand how you can use that inner critical voice to support you advance your career, to not let it hold you back anymore. Your inner critical voice gets a really, really hard time, but it's there to keep you safe and to protect you. There are a number of different theories to help us understand the origin of the inner critical voice. Nothing has been agreed upon, but some of the common theories look at cognitive behavioral therapy theory, Freudman theory, and neuro. mm, It'll come to me in a moment, but it's basically looking at our neurological development. So, for example, the cavemen and the cave woman being chased by saber-toothed tigers. We're no longer afraid of those same physical threats. It's psychological threats that we fear the most. Being singled out in the office, not writing a perfect enough email, presenting a report that has spelling mistakes in it. We're looking at the relationship and the links between our family relations, social conditioning. We're looking at the role that language plays and how we communicate ourselves. But it can be managed. Once we can stop seeing our inner critical voice as this evil bitch that needs to be shut down. She's scared. She represents your fear. It needs to be managed appropriately. There are a few things that you know as a result of this training that will help you to move the needle, help you to move the dial on your confidence. What your doubt or inner critic actually means, what she actually represents, a confidence building formula that actually works, and effective and practical strategies. So, how do you do all of this? Well, this is the part that kind of sucks the most, but is also the most empowering. You make a choice. You decide how you're going to move forward, when you're going to move forward, and what you're going to move forward to. One or more of the things that I've covered in this free training could really move the needle for you and help you become the empowered, fearless, and confident professional that you long to be. Just one of them. That's all it could be. That's all the difference could be. And that is exactly why, and this is what I was telling you about that I'd love to share more information with you on. I've created a new signature coaching program that's already changed hundreds of lives. And I get to say hundreds with so much pride because, in spite of a raging inner critical voice and overwhelming doubt from the last 10 years of being self employed, I'm still standing. And I am so excited to tell you a little bit more about my career, confidence, and clarity coaching program. It is a 3-month coaching program. Please ignore that typo, it's 12 weeks. That is designed to help you ditch the doubt and escape the grip of that nagging voice inside you so that you can become the fearless, empowered, and confident professional that you long to be. What does it include? It includes 3 months of ongoing one-to-one coaching with moi, support between each sessions, accountability. There's no falling off the bandwagon with me, folks. Personalized resources to help you further your development. And this one is really important. A safe space, a non-judgmental space, and genuine self-care. Now, I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea of a manicure or a hair appointment because they are fabulous and wonderful, and I adore them as much as anyone else. But can we please not kid ourselves any longer into thinking that that's the self-care that we need to support us to advance our career? Because it's not. You can't fix an inside problem with an outside thing. This will make you feel fabulous. The red nails and the nice hair. But what will really move the dial for you, what will really give you the tools that you need to stand out in your career, is related to developing a mindset required. to help you advance that career. My clients have done it, and you can too. Lorraine asked for a pay rise and got it. Sharon got clarity on her career path. She's self-employed. She's an incredible woman. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. I just got an AI request there that I've never received before. And Louise just started to get excited about work again. She started to believe in herself again. And that is incredible. So, this is what I'd like for you to do. I have set aside some time this week and early next week so that I can speak with you personally to understand what's working for you and what's not working for you. In just a moment, I'm going to share a link into the chat box. And this link is an application form that you can fill out to tell me a little bit more about you so that we can schedule this call so that I can figure out how you can begin to move the dial in your confidence and accomplish everything that you've ever wanted. And because you have stayed with me, listened, engaged, and participated, I want to offer you an incredible discount, €250 off, using the discount code FABULOUS. This is available for 7 days only. I'm going to be taking between 5 and 10 call applications. So I would love for you to, and I'm going to get this available for you now. Or am I? I am. Okay. So I would love for you to fill out this application form. And if you want to work with me one-to-one so that you can take very proactive steps in managing your career, ditching the doubt and escaping the voice of that inner critical character,